Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my August wrap up part 2 and what a month. I have read the most books this month than what I've read all year, in like total, as in monthly, not like in total of the year. I've got the highest star rating and I am super happy with the books I've read. Unfortunately, it's gone grey weather today, the one day that I'm filming this on the last day of the month, and it's grey. So I can't film outside. I'm filming it on a Saturday, so I can't film in the living room because they're all in there. So I'm having to film in the dining room. I thought that picture's alright. And let me know. I'm just all over the place today. It's like we're right at the end of the school holidays. I've literally got tomorrow I'm working. So the day before this goes live I'm working. Monday I've got like a lot on. Tuesday I've got 3 kids because I've got my friend's little girl and we're busy for the day. And then Wednesday Thomas is back at school. I may well be kicking Mia into the other room for the day. Just like tell her to, you know, give me a bit of space because she's not back till the Friday. You guys trying to kill me off. Anyway, I'm going to tell you the stats first. So the next few minutes are talking about the stats. This month I've got a couple of tag videos coming up. We've got the October announcement that was live on the other day. So I'm literally, as soon as I finish this video, I'm going to order the group book for Victober already, straight away. Like, I just want to order it so it's here in time for me filming. But yeah, so let's hope on September. I'm just going to try and be chill in September. I'm going to try and have like a more gentle month because October, I don't know if October's busy. I know September's a little bit busy because we've got a couple of birthdays, but yeah, I'm just going to try and be chill myself. Anyway, here's the stats. Yeah, don't dive shock anyone on these stats, please. I would like to be, don't want to be accused of anything. So, I've managed to read 38 books this month. Yes, that is a lot. Oh, by the way, I am now, because I had a bit of a stupidity moment and managed to accidentally delete my Goodreads account, I'm not really on Goodreads anymore, so I'm going to be solely on the Storygraph. I'm on Storygraph under my channel name. So and I've now changed the settings so people can follow me on there if you want to. And I can have some friends, but I probably will keep that to people. But yeah, I would obviously follow me on there. I'd love to do that. And I'd love to follow some of you guys if you're on Storygraph. Because I find Storygraph's a lot easier. I have got a Goodreads account under Novel Novels again. But that will purely be for books that I'm reviewing, for like books that have been sent to me by publishers or things like that. So I'm only going to put book reviews on there that the important books. Not the important. You know what I mean, the books that I get sent for. So my ad PR products, they're going to go, reviews are on there, and I'm going to use that as a tool so I can find series and find ratings and stuff, but I'm not really going to be using that as much now. I've decided actually to be honest, it's making my life easier. Storygraph's a lot quicker and easier to use, so I'm now on that. So yes, I've read 38 books. 34 of those were off the unread TBR because I had 1 reread and my 3 library books. There's going to be like, there might be, I think I might have a couple of other ones next month because I think I might do a reread for Victober yet. I'm going to have to try and work that out. But I know September I'm not quite doing any rereads, as in, but yeah, I don't think I'm doing any rereads, so September will be a bit easier. I only gained 29 books. I say only, it's less than 30. That video was going to go live today, but I've decided to put that on Fridays because I thought, seeing as I've actually got time, I can do that. So I've got 29 books. You can find out how many of those were bought when you watch that whole video, which you've got to watch. I unhauled 2 off my unread TBR because now that my numbers are going down, I don't have to worry about unhauling unread books. The only times I'm unhauling them now is if I really don't like them. Like last month I did unhaul Orange Boy by Patrice something or another because it just was too YA and too big and it was just not for me. So, and I also unhauled, yeah, both YA books actually. I also unhauled Soulmates by Holly Bourne because that was way just too YA and I was like, nope, I'm not going to read those. So I am still finessing my shelves, but not as stressed. So my August unread TBR, I've written in pale writing, was 304 books. My September unread TBR, are you ready for the big flashing lights? If I had the tools, I would be exploding. Is now down to 297 unread books. Yes, for a lot of people that would be a load. For me, it's under 300. That was my goal for the end of the year. So I've met that target. Yes! I'm not going to try and gain books this month, but I'm now not going to be as stressed if I don't like, although, yeah, we're not going to talk about the fact that it's the 31st of like August and I've already gained like this just under 20 books already. Yeah, we're not going to go there. So I'm going to have to read a lot again. Why am I doing this to myself? Anyway, but it's under 300. That was the surprise. That was what I'm gelling with. That's where I'm excited. So, now to the genres, and then I can talk about the books. I read 1 literary fiction. Still not my jam. Don't know why I read it, but hey ho, I did it. 1 graphic novel. 2 mystery. 2 classics. 3 non-fiction. 4 fantasy. And this is where the numbers are very different from last month. 9 historical fiction. And 16 contemporaries. Yes, that is a lot of contemporaries, but it's the summer and that was what worked for me, so I am not beating myself up about that. So last month, contemporary and historical fiction were even. This month I actually read more contemporary than historical fiction. But going forward, I think September I'm hoping to read more historical fiction, but we'll see. I'm not going to get stressed. So I had 1 3-star book, which I showed you at the start of the month. I've got 3 3.5-star books, 17 4-star books, 8 4.5-star books, and 9 5-star books. I seem to regularly get like 9 5-star books. Like, it just seems to be a lot. Yeah, I had 9 5-stars last month, but I've got more 4.5 stars this month, and more 4 stars this month, and less lower rated. So this has definitely been a lot better reading month. I think that's because I'm listening to what, like, I'm only reading what I really want to read. And yes, it is a lot of contemporaries, and yes, I am being light on myself. But with 2 kids plus all the extras I've had over the holidays, I am fine with the fact I've read a lot of contemporaries. I'm not beating myself up. So, let's show you the books I've read. So the first 3.5-star book was a library book, and that was Juliet Takes a Breath. And that was, no, that wasn't Juliet Takes a Breath. That was The Book of Fire by Christine Beattie. I think that was my lit fic book, and that was very much like, I read The Beekeeper of Aleppo and thought it was good. I read another one of their books and I thought it was okay, but they're just not, I don't really think her writing's for me, so I just think it was a good enough book. At 3.5 stars, it was a good enough book, and it certainly got better when more I understood. It just, not right, not her, she's not really my jam, so, yeah. The next one, I'm sorry Olivia, I know she liked Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera, but I am way too old for this, darling. I am way, way, way too old. It is an LGBTQ book, but it's not really a romance book, and it's not really, I'm too old fuddy-duddy. Right, let's just read you a little bit about the back. I've been reading your book, Raging Flower, Empowering Your Pussy by Empowering Your Mind. For starters, that is not the kind of thing that I'm way too old and too old for that. No lie, I started reading it so that I can make people uncomfortable on the subway, but I'm writing to you now because this book of yours, this magical labia manifesto, has become my Bible. And will her beautiful, chaotic Puerto Rican family still love her when she finds out she's gay? Will the internship with her favourite author help her to understand what kind of feminist she wants to be? And why won't her girlfriend recall her call? Yes, it has good LGBTQI representation, I think. I think that's done alright. It's got good, diversity. It's quite a diverse book, but I'm way too old for it. So 3.5 stars, not for me. Let's go back to the charity shop. And no, my mum would not like that. And then to my first Rosanna Lee, I think, and it's Bay of Secrets. And again, it's only 3.5 stars. It probably wasn't my favourite historical fiction book, and I don't really think I'm going to carry on with the author. It's 2 timelines, one in Spain in 1939, and about Julia, who was forced to enter a convent in Barcelona. Eager to maintain her links to the outside world, she starts volunteering as a maternity clinic, but worrying adoption practices in the clinic force Sister Julia to decide how far she will go to help those placed in her care. There is stuff in that I really got challenged with, about babies being taken away from mothers, and things like that. That kind of stuff as a mum I found really challenging. And then 6 months after her parents' death, shocking death, her 34-year-old journalist and jazz enthusiast Ruby Ray has finally found the strength to pack up their possessions and sell the family home. But as she does so, she unearths a devastating secret her parents kept from her life. Yeah, just stuff in this that was just really, I found quite challenging, and it's just not for me, so charity shop. Now to my 4 stars. Now, 4 stars for me, very good. Really happy with 4 stars. Not necessarily going to keep them. In fact, I think there's, out of all of this, 2 are getting kept. And that's because they're One's a classic and one's a part of a sort of series of authors that I'm collecting. The other's not getting kept. So the first one is the last book that I finished on the month. Yes, I finished reading my last book on the 30th, but today is the day of filming. I did not want to push myself to read an extra book, so I already very briefly started a couple of August books. And this is On Mystic Lake by Kristen Hannah. I've got one Kristen Hannah and my Stacey Hawke, sorry. But this is one of her oldest books. It was written in 1999. It was very slow paced at the start. It's a contemporary, but again contemporary, written in 1999. And it's about Annie Coldwater, whose only child has left the home to college abroad. On the same day, her husband of 20 years confesses that he's in love with a younger woman, and he's divorcing her basically. And then Annie goes back to her hometown where she grew up, Mystic, and a small Washington town, and she's reunited with her first love, Nick. It does tackle a few issues, so there are some triggers in that. If you want to know what they are, let me know. But it's good. It's Kristen Hannah. It's not one of her amazing works, but it's definitely a good book. You can definitely tell it's her writing. Now to Jo Thomas, that I got this summer, and I've read a lot of summer books that I've gotten one summer and read them straight away. Just bought like a winter. I'm already starting to get my Christmas books, but yeah, well the rest of my summer books that I didn't read are going to go hidden very shortly to obviously the next one. But this one I decided to read, and it was Late Summer in the Vineyard by Jo Thomas. It's not my favourite Jo Thomas. I've loved a lot more of her books, a lot more. And this is about Emmy Bridges, who always looks out for others. In its time, she put down roots of her own. Working for a winemaker in France is the opportunity of a lifetime for Emmy, even if she doesn't know a thing about wine. This is good, but yeah, it's not amazing. It wouldn't be one. I wouldn't start off with this if you wanted to start off with a Jo Thomas amazing book, because she's written a lot more better ones. And I've just bought a load of Jo Thomas's, so this is okay. It's not amazing. It's okay. Charity shop can have it for next summer. Then to a book that was intriguing me. It's like historical fiction / contemporary, so I can't remember what I put it down as. And it's set in the 90s, and it's at a time when Kate Moss was just appearing, and the Happy Mondays were in the chart, and Diana is still married to King Charles, obviously now. But February Kingdom is a reclusive 19-year-old knocked sideways by a family tragedy. One evening she finds an escaped canary in her kitchen, and it sparks a glimmer of hope in her. It is a good historical fiction book. It's not amazing. I'm kind of glad that I didn't get it by the publishers, because I would have felt, because I did apply for it for a tandem book. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I would have felt like I wanted to keep it, and this is not one I'm going to keep. Eva Rice's writing's okay. It's just not amazing. It's not like 5-star or even 4.5 stars, but it's all right. Good sort of summary book. You kind of want to know a bit about 90s and that sort of era and what it was like down there. There are some twists in that I didn't expect that I did enjoy. Then A Summer to Remember by Sue Moorcroft, and again, nice summary book. Like, wanted Summer by the Sea, wanted a caretaker of a roundhouse holiday cottage, and it's set in Norfolk. I'd love to go to Norfolk. I need to go there at some point. And the candidate basically there's got virtually no Wi-Fi, no internet around there, and it's like shut away. And the lead character goes there to sort of hide away. But then she meets her twin sister. I think it's her twin sister. Her twin sister's ex-fiance's cousin, I think. Right, ex-fiance, that's ex-fiance's brother. And there's romance. It's quite atypical, but there is some other things, and there's a little young romance in it, and about growing up. And I did love the lead character. I thought it was really good, and I did enjoy it. So yeah, it was quite a good book. I do like seeing more cross books. Then to one I'm going to keep, which is a Christy Barlow book, because I love all Christy Barlow's books. Even though it's 4 stars, it was still a really good 4 stars. And this is A Summer Surprise at the Little Blue Boathouse. It's not my favourite of her works, but it is good. It's Love Heart Lane book, so it's all set in Love Heart Lane. It's set in Scotland, and we've got B. Fernsby and Nolan Hemingway, and it's just as an old mystery resurfaces. B's stay is only supposed to last a couple of weeks, but once you arrive in Hackcross, you don't leave. Lovely romance. Nolan definitely sounds like a gorgeous lead character. Definitely like a booktube crushy thing, because he does sound gorgeous. And it's sort of set in Scotland, and I really enjoyed it, so that is my keepy one. Then to a historical fiction book that I got this summer and read straight away, and that's The Villa of Secrets by Patricia Wilson. Again, there's like, I think a lot of her books are set. This is set in, what do I say? Rhodes. So that's Greece, I think. See, my brain's died. Okay, and it talks about the Nazi occupation there, and it is hard hitting. It is very much like the darkest days of the war in the roads and what happened on that island and how the Nazis really did take over. And it is very challenging, and yeah, dual timeline, very good book, but yeah, just not amazing. Then to a summer book that I got at the Thomas's School Fete, and I decided to read it straight away, The Staycation by Cressida McLaughlin. It's my first book by this author, and it won't be my last. Good, fun contemporary. It's about like making holidays in the hotel room and a staycation, and it does talk about grief, and it talks about what it's like when you're sort of stuck in a hotel and making your own holidays. I have only been abroad a couple of times, so that I related to the fact that I would be petrified to go on a plane now, so that's quite good. Nice romance, really good book. Then one of my non-fictions is The School That Escaped the Nazis. I read this last week. I think I've read it in like a day virtually. And it's very hard hitting. Again, it's talking about the Nazi occupation again. Very, it's a true story. So it's a non-fiction work. So you have to be aware that you're hearing a lot about what happened with the Nazis over in the wartime. Very emotional, how it affected children's death, that sort of stuff. You have to be aware of all that going in. But it's a brilliantly written book. Very, very good. And one I definitely recommend. Now to my reread, which was Anna Karenina. And yes, it was 4 stars all over again. It didn't change its rating from last time I read it to this time. I read it in the course of a month, so God knows how I flipping did that. I do enjoy Anna Karenina. It's quite a good like classic, and it's quite a good fun one. Not fun as in fun, but it's like tragically depressing as fudge. But it is one that's easy enough to read, and it's Leo Tolstoy's book that I did actually really enjoy. And I suppose like Count Vronsky, God, Anna Karenina does my head in, but she does seem to have it all, and Count Vronsky's quite a baddie, but not really too bad. And if you don't know about Anna Karenina, who are you? You know, this is like a very popular book, so I'm keeping that, and I'll probably reread it again because it's that good. Then to a book that my sister Charlie from Charlie Book Reads got me, and it's Bloom by Kevin Panetta. Graphic novel, read it in a day, read it in like an hour because I fly through graphic novels. LGBTQI romance. Really good book. Really thought it was really good, not too bad. Did enjoy it. But that's off to the charity shop. Now I've got two 4.5 stars here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. So I didn't want this video to be too long. I'm sorry if you want more detail on the books, please let me know and I will give you more. But okay, I'm running out of time. I want to watch the Victober videos that have just been announced. I've got to get some reading done. Anyway, I am behaving really bad. I'm so sorry, guys. Right, first one is Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. Yes, it's my first Ali Hazelwood that has not got 5 stars, but it is, again, it's a YA book. I'm going to keep it because I might reread it when I fancy a light pinky book, but it's alright. It's not amazing. It's alright. Definitely one that you can think that it's but it's very much of it's YA, and I think, again, with the YA thing, I am too old. I like YA fantasy, but I don't really like YA romancy things, even though I just got the Nick and Charlie book, but we're not going to tell you that on the next book haul. But yeah, this is about Mallory Greenleaf is done with chess. Every move counts nowadays, after the sport led to the destruction of her family 4 years earlier. Mallory's focus is on her mum, her sisters, and the dead-end job that keeps the lights on. That is until she begrudgingly agrees to take part in one last charity tournament, and inadvertently wipes the board with the notorious King's Killer Nolan Sawyer, the current world champion and the reigning bad boy of chess. Very, very good. That is good, and it's romance, and it's like kind of not the sciencey romance that she does. It's like a chess romance, and she does have good writing, but it was just a bit too YA for me. But I'm still keeping it, so it's not going on that keepy pile. Just got to decide where I'm going to put it yet. Oh, and I've only got a couple of books to give to Mum. Oh, this makes a change. I've normally got loads to give to Mum. I don't know if she'll want any of those ones. Oh well, I'll talk to her about it. You never know. But the first one is a book that I did for it's a PR product. I read it for a Love Book Tours read along. My review is on Goodreads. I think it's been published on Goodreads. It's certainly on Instagram, and it's on definitely on Goodreads. It's definitely on Instagram, and I think it's gone on Amazon, but I can't for the life of me remember if it did get approved. But this is Hold Me by Helen C. Kelly. It's part of the Green Grove series, but I read it as a standalone because it was a AdPR product. And this has chronic illness rep. I do want you to look at my review because my review is far better than I think I can use my verbal words to describe. The chronic illness rep in this is very good. I may not have the exact condition that this lead character Dawn has, but you guys all know about my chronic illness. And currently, as of filming at the moment, I'm currently experiencing a flare. It's not a major flare, but I am experiencing a flare again. And this felt very relatable. It's about, like, when you find out you've got chronic illness, and it never goes away. Chronic illness is something you live with for life. That's the whole point of it being chronic. And this talks about, like, can you find romance? Can you find love? Would anyone be prepared to do all the things you have to do? And Dawn's chronic illness is far worse than mine. But again, certain things I could draw parallels with. And the romance is good. This is from two people's, sorry, mate. Excuse me. So it's got two different chapters from the two perspectives. It's Dawn's perspective and the guy's perspective, which I think is called Connor. Who you can kind of guess where that's going to go. But it's the two perspectives, and Connor's perspective and Dawn's. And it's really good because it talks about how being a carer for someone with chronic illness, how it affects them. I'd love to do a discussion video with Chris or my family or someone to actually discuss what it's like for those of us around us. Would you like me to do that actually? Would you like a discussion video with, say, either my mum, Charlie or Chris about what it's like living with someone with chronic illness or knowing someone with chronic illness? Because I would love to know if you want me to do a video on that. I know my chronic illness videos do really well and my disabilities video do really well, so I'd love to know if Chris would actually go online and actually do one with that, because I would love to know how that would be. But yeah, this was really, really good. Yes, it's slightly slow paced, which is why it got 4.5 stars, not 5, but it's a really, really good book, and this is one that I'm definitely going to lend to Mum. And I think Kat from Brews and Reviewers would love that. Now to my 5 stars. I must admit, I've got one that's a definite 5-star, definite's a favourite, and there's one that could be a favourite, but it's a duology, so if you kind of guess it. And I've got one favourite from last month. But actually, my favourites out of these 5 are not what you're going to think. So I'll tell you which 5 I've read and see if you can guess which ones, before I even talk about them, which one would be a favourite. So I've read The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. I read that with the lovely Charlotte from Coney Reed. I read Neon Roses by Rachel Dawson. I read that because I thought it was part of the Doodah, one of Angie's book club thingy, but I can't remember. I can't remember her name of her book group thingy, but I read it on the wrong time. And then I read Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. And I read the proof copy of Mistakes Mean Murder, which means it will change. It will be changed before the real copy comes out. I beta read that for Charlie from Charles Heathcote. And then lastly, I read The Household by Stacey Halls. Can you guess which one is a definite favourite out of these? I'd love to know. Now I'm going to talk about them and see whether you guessed. So the first one is The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. I read this straight after reading The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton, and this is set 18 years after The Miniaturist, and it's about Thea Brand, who obviously was the young baby that was born right at the end of The Miniaturist. And it talks about her and her aunt Nella and Thea's father, who I can't tell you the name of it because it spoils The Miniaturist. I thought this was definitely lighter than The Miniaturist because The Miniaturist was darker. It definitely got rated 5 stars because the writing for me was far better. It was dark and it got darker the more you read, but it wasn't quite as dark as The Miniaturist. So it felt like for me it was easier to read a bit. But there were still some very, very emotional bits, and I really enjoyed this far more, and this is one I'm really glad I kept, but I'm going to keep because it was just so much better than I expected. Then I read Neon Roses by Rachel Dawson. This blew me out of the park. It is set in 1984 and in South Wales, and the miners' strike is ravaging her community. So it's about Elundund. It's spelled Eluned Hughes. That's her name, and it's set in the South Wales in 1984 when the miners' strike is ravaging their community. Her sister's swarmed off with a Thatcherite policeman, and her boyfriend Lloyd keeps bringing up marriage. If they play 99 red balloons one more time, she might just lose her mind. Then the fundraising group, the lesbians and gays support group from the miners, come down to support the miners from London, and she meets June, a snaggletooth blonde with R2 big leather jacket. Suddenly Ellen isn't stuck anymore, she's in free fall. This was amazing. It literally blew my mind. I got it on one of our London trips, and I think it was on the last London trip, and I've kept, did I keep the postcard? I don't know if I did. Yeah, I got it at the Common Press bookshop, so I kept the postcard. And the postcard I got there was, "You have some queer friends, Dorothy," she said. "The queerness doesn't matter as long as they're friends," it was the answer, and that was written on the road to us. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought it was a really good romance. It's very good historical fiction, because it taught me about some issues I didn't know about back then. Brilliant book. I thought this blew my mind. It's not one for Mum, but it blew my mind. And then Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. You know I love Elle McNichol. The next one, I buddy read this with the lovely Cat from Brews and Reviews. I've got to read Like a Curse, and it's not fair because I can't find it secondhand cheap anywhere, so I'm going to end up having to buy it full price because I need to know what happens. And I'm not going to be able to wait too long because it's getting desperate. I love this book. And it's another fantasy. This is actually very much more fantasy than her other book. And this has... Right, so for me, this is about Ramya, who has got everything that the city needs, and it's going to change everything. And it says about talking about beware of the sirens. Right at the start of this book, it talks about the fact that Ramya has dyspraxia. I don't want to talk about it too much, but in the fact that my son Thomas, we're in the process of getting him diagnosed with that. I know he's a bit embarrassed, so please be very aware of the words when we talk about this. And it also talks about autism and things like that, and it talks about that spectrum, so it has great disability rep. For me, knowing what we've been going through with Thomas to get his diagnosis and some of the challenges he faces, I related to. I'm not going to go into details about what, obviously, but it was like I really related to that, and I found it really helpful because how I can help Thomas and how I can help other people that I know with dyspraxia, because it is going, it is a well-known condition. And autism, and I think the autism rep was done really well. Yes, it does portray adults as quite badly, and that's something that Kat found, that she thinks that a lot of adults are portrayed quite badly in this, but I found it really, really good. I think that I did say that obviously there are a lot of bad adults, but there are some good ones, and I think that's something as you read more, you discover that people you don't expect to be baddies are, and it talks about manipulation and various other things, friendships, the magic, and just brilliant book. I thoroughly loved it. I can't describe to you how much I loved it. Then to my proof copy that I read for Mistakes in Murder, I think this is the best, but even as a proof copy and as a beta reader, I personally think this is the best book Charlie's ever written. I'm not going to go into too much detail. It is the sequel to Alice Valentine, that infamous book that I loved. And why can I not remember him? An Heir to Murder. It is the sequel to An Heir to Murder. Sorry, my brain is frozen. And it is bloody good. You do need to read An Heir to Murder. One of the things I will point out is that Charlie is connected to the Aldoris books, but I think I'll leave Charlie to tell you where in that Aldoris series it is, because I think that's something I found brilliant. But this is far more twisty and turny than the last book. It's actually a bit scary at times for me, and I think it was amazing. If the full copy is as good as this, then bloody hell, watch out world, because you're going to have to get it. If you like mysteries, get this when it comes out, because I will be shouting that from the rooftops when that book gets published. Trust me. And then to the last 5 stars, and that is The Household by Stacey Halls. We all know I love Stacey Hall's books. We all know that I think I got this signed copy. For me, it's not my favourite by her, which is funny because I absolutely... So if you think... I'm just trying to think. So The Familiars I loved. I really... I think I love Miss England. So at the moment, I'm going... Because Miss England really stood in my head. But still, The Familiars is still my favourite. Then it goes Mrs. England. Then it goes The Foundling. No, then it goes, I think, The Household, then The Foundling. So it's third place. It's not the first, and it's not the second. This is good. It's set in London in 1847, and it talks about Charles Dickens, because he's actually got he's got a bit of presence in this, which is quite interesting. And there are some actually non-fiction relevance in this book actually. And it talks about Urania Cottage, and it reminds Marcia of a doll's house, a staged domestic life, whereas upon closer inspection, the fire is a pile of ribbons and the windows are pasted shut. This is a very interesting historical fiction. It's set in 1847, which I think is Victorian times, and it's about Urania Cottage, and it does talk about like some issues that were happening at the time with prostitution and the women that were fallen women basically, and about how you can change the fallen women. My copy is stunning, look at all that, and I've got my sprayed edges, and it is one I do need to reread. I think I need to do a Stacey Hall's project actually, because I do need to reread all her books. That's a sneaky peek, that's going to be my goal for next year, is to reread some books. I do need to reread not just classics next year. I think my plan for next year is to reread some historical fiction and contemporary, so I'll be rereading 5 of each, and now I just need to decide which ones of each I'm going to be rereading. But that is a very good book, but for me it wasn't quite as good as Mrs. England or The Familiars. But again, it could be my mind space is still not amazing. Very good, very sad, very good writing. Just let's wait and see. So let's talk about my favourite. Yeah, I wonder if you guessed. My favourite out of all the 5 stars is Neon Roses by Rachel Dawson. It's an amazing book. I need to read more by this author. I think it was amazing. Admittedly, Mistakes Mean Murder, if that wasn't a proof, even though Charlie's my friend, it probably would be a favourite. And again, Like a Charm could easily be a favourite, except for the fact the only reason it wasn't was because it did take a little bit of time to get into. That was why that wasn't a favourite. House of Fortune was good, The Household was good, but it would have been a tie between that and that. But again, I can't have that because it's a proof copy, and it hasn't gone on my numbers yet. So, what's been your favourite of the month? I'm just thinking actually, what could be an emoji? If you can find any gold, if you got to the end of this video, if you can find a gold emoji, because there's gold on a lot of the Household and on House of Fortune. If you had like a gold or a yellow heart emoji, that'd be good if you got to the end of this video. Let me know what books have been your favourites of what you've read. I'd love to know. I love talking to you all in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.